Unfortunately, most people are destroying their ability to retire or be financially free, and they don't even know that they're doing it. That's because habits seem innocent and are so ingrained in our psyche that we look for every other excuse in the book for the reasons why you aren't getting closer to retirement or financial freedom, when the answer is actually in the habits you formed and you need to break away from. So this may hurt, it may be a little bit painful, but you guys come here for the truth, and I'm going to help you identify those habits that are absolutely destroying your ability to retire. Because what you know about financial freedom and retiring early is a complete and total lie. But this channel is about the truth about financial independence and retiring early, and the alternate way to achieve both of those. So make sure you're subscribed if you want the truth on that information and you don't want to be lied to anymore. So the first habit destroying your ability to retire is poor spending habits. Look, if you don't know where every dollar goes and you haven't budgeted out every dollar and you just kind of spend your money however the heck you want to spend it, you have poor spending habits. If you buy more stuff than you buy assets, you have poor spending habits. If you find yourself living paycheck to paycheck, no matter what happens, no matter what raises you get at work, no matter what else you do, then you have poor spending habits because something is leaking out and making it to where even a nice little pay advance, and I understand we have inflation, we got a lot of other things working against us here, but I can guarantee you everybody can sit down if they know where every dollar goes and look at their budget and figure out exactly where they can make cuts in order to give themselves money to buy assets instead of just stuff or eating out or going to the bar or whatever. For the vast majority of people out there, they don't have a budget and they most certainly cannot tell you where every single dollar goes. And that's usually because you have such a bad habit of spending money in the wrong places, you don't want to know the truth about where your money's actually going. Habit number 2 is you choose bad debt over good debt. Look guys, I have no issues with somebody saying no debt is the way to go. I agree completely there. I don't think that's a bad strategy at all. But the reality is we have a debt-based economy. Almost everybody does have debt, and the vast majority of debt that people carry is bad debt, not good debt. And what I mean by that is, and the way I identify it is if whatever I have debt on is not making me money, it is bad debt. So an example of good debt would be real estate, for example. Now, I agree, slow down, that you can do crazy zero down schemes or whatever, trying to flip houses in 90 days or something crazy like that to where you can get yourself in trouble with what should be good debt in regards of using debt to leverage to buy real estate. But if you leverage that money smartly, that debt can exponentially expand your returns into the future. But most people have debt on a car, debt on a house that they live in that they're not house hacking or doing anything else to bring in additional revenue to make that house an asset. They have credit card debt. They have debt for jet skis or a boat or something else like that. The point being, they are seeking out debt in order to buy stuff that provides no actual financial value and actually draw them closer to retirement, instead of putting on debt, if they're going to use debt, in good places that give you assets that build towards your retirement. Habit number 3 is you don't consistently invest. If you understand the concept of compounding, you know you don't have to contribute a whole lot from when you first start working in your early 20s until you're in your 50s or 60s in order to be a multimillionaire whenever you retire. It doesn't take a whole lot. But what it does take is consistency, and most people do not consistently invest, or they choose not to invest at all. When you choose to do that, you are absolutely destroying your greatest strength as an investor, which is compounding. And more importantly, if you want to be financially free or retire early or just retire at all, you have to invest, which means you need to do it consistently. It's not the lottery. You don't just throw money in once and then hope it turns into a few $1,000,000 later. It's not how it works. You have to consistently invest over a period of years and decades in order to be wealthy, in order to have that financial freedom, in order to get to where you want to go. Habit number 4 is you waste time. Look, you guys know it, but just to kind of rehash here, there's so much time wasted by the average person. It is absolutely incredible. And just for example here, people spend more time watching TV, on their phones, scrolling social media than they actually spend at work working in a given week. That's the average, guys. That's what the average person does. They spend more time on wasting time than they do actually building a side business, learning how to invest, and then investing consistently, doing a lot of other things that actually get you closer to your retirement. Instead, they're spending their time on their phones, on social media, or watching TV. I'm not saying doing all those things is bad, but if you're doing that more than you're actually working, and statistically that's exactly what you're doing, then you are wasting one of your biggest assets that you have as a person, and that is time. And number 5, You're trying to keep up with friends and family. I couldn't tell you how many times I see it, but everybody is always trying to keep up with everybody else. Somebody else gets a new car, then all of a sudden you want a new car. Somebody else moves into a nicer neighborhood, all of a sudden you kind of start thinking your house looks a little ratty. Somebody else buys a new, I don't know, purse, handbag, whatever the case is. Now you kind of want a new one too. You go to that family reunion and all of a sudden you see who's doing well, or at least they appear to do well because they're driving a nice BMW or something else. And now all of a sudden you're like, hey, I'm doing well too. I want to show that I'm doing well as well with this family. Look at all the attention they're getting. You want that same attention too, even though you might not be thinking that consciously. That's what you're doing whenever you feel that urge to go out there and upgrade after you've seen somebody else with something that's better than what you have. But that feeling, that desire, that drive, and then you start, kind of looking it up, right there. More time wasted on your phone looking up the next BMW or whatever the case is, and before you know it, they're advertisers, right? They're pretty good at getting you to buy stuff. Now all of a sudden you're buying that new BMW instead of now you're putting $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 into a vehicle, which by the way is going to be worth half of that in a couple of years, instead of taking that money and putting it into an investment like a real estate property or like in the stock market or whatever the case is. Keeping up with friends and family absolutely destroys your retirement. The good news is this channel is about alternative routes to retirement. They want you working forever, and I want you to be completely free from this mess. It may be blacklisted by society, but it's the truth, and we will absolutely get you there. So make sure you're subscribed so that way you can get this information, because they absolutely don't want you to know about it at all. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.